Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. I'm your host Harpreet Singh from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. In today's program, we have a special guest, and I'm joined with Mr. Pierre Poilievre, who is joining us from Ottawa. And the way things are happening in Canada, things are deteriorating, things are worsening. But especially, there are some issues about which all Canadians are concerned. So let's get over to him and learn from him as to what is happening and what the Canadians ought to know about what needs to be done. Mr. Poilievre, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, Harpreet. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. So, I would like to start off with things are worsening in Canada, whether it is when we talk about the criminal justice system or the housing or the immigration. But just recently, there was a kind of a joke in British Columbia that a dealership was told that they can sell cocaine, though they have refrained from that now and they are saying it was some mistake or something. And decriminalization of drugs, already the situation is quite serious. What do you have to say about it?
Well, I'd love to think it was a joke, but the company did get a permit from Trudeau's health department to get into the cocaine business. That we know. We also know that on January 30th, Trudeau's health department put out a statement with quotes from his health minister saying that drugs would be decriminalized. That included heroin, cocaine, methamphetamines, and other deadly drugs. So the Trudeau policy is to decriminalize hard drugs, and effectively that formalized the policy that his government has allowed to proliferate since 2017, when police in Vancouver have been directed not to enforce the law on drug possession. The result is that after 8 years of Justin Trudeau, we have a massive overdose and drug crisis. 30,000 people have died of overdoses. Overdose deaths in British Columbia, where this decriminalization experiment has played out, have gone up by more than 300%. Walk to the Lower East Side of Vancouver's downtown, and you'll see people laying face first on the pavement. Their breathing stopping because they've taken too much fentanyl or other drugs that Trudeau has made more available. And the government is paying to provide more of these opioids that are getting into the hands of our children and increasing the overall addiction crisis. So a Poilievre government will do exactly the opposite. We will ban hard drugs, ban cocaine, ban heroin, ban illicit fentanyl, ban methamphetamines, and instead of giving people more poison, we'll give them treatment and recovery. We'll expand treatment and recovery services to save the lives of our brothers, sisters, friends, and neighbors. Let's turn the hurt that Trudeau has caused in 8 years to the hope that Canadians need right now.
Absolutely, that's quite startling, what you're talking about. But on the other hand, this company, Destra, just in 2 months, they got the approval. Whereas even if you have to apply for a permit to get your home renovated, or if you have to, get a new permit for a home, it's taking over a year. There is a backlog of 2.5 million files for immigration. So how did it happen so fast? That's quite surprising that the government is so effective in getting these licenses given so soon, whereas people's basic needs are not being met.
It's incredible, isn't it, that in Trudeau's Canada, you can get a permit to go into the cocaine business faster than you can get a passport to go on vacation. It's easier to get a permit for cocaine than it is to get a permit to renovate your house. That's 8 years of Justin Trudeau. That's Canada on 8 years of Trudeau. Let's bring home common sense. We should ban hard drugs and instead speed up the treatment of our most vulnerable people who are addicted to those drugs so that we can give them back control of their lives here in Canada, the freest country on earth.
Mr. Poilievre, another interesting issue and concerning issue is that government is expanding the assisted suicide to vulnerable Canadians, especially who are suffering with mental illness. What do you have to say about that?
Well, Trudeau wants to use medical assistance in dying for people who are depressed. I don't think that we should tell the depressed or the anxious or the mentally ill to end their lives. Yet that's the risk. What is going to happen is we all go through hard times. I'm sure you have as well. But what you need to do is persevere through it, get to the other side, start a life anew. And that takes treatment and counseling, sometimes in extreme cases, medication. But we know that you can treat mental illness and that people can overcome those hardships. We don't need the government to come in and offer people death. We need the government to offer people life. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end medical assistance in dying for the mentally ill, and instead provide more mental health treatment that gives people the hope they need for a better future.
Already the statistics that we see in 2021, 10,164 people died as a result of medical assisted suicide and medical assisted deaths, I'm sorry. And if this thing continues, this new bill, which is being opposed by the Conservatives, this will be again very threatening for especially those people who are suffering from mental illness. So while your party is opposing this particular bill, and as you pointed out, there is something else which needs to be looked into, and your government, when you form it, will be looking into those aspects. I would also like to touch a little bit upon, especially the Conservatives are asking for an inquiry as far as Chinese interference is concerned. What is the latest status on this?
Well, the latest is that we now know Justin Trudeau has been aware of interference by the dictatorship in Beijing into our democracy for the last 10 years. And it started in 2013 when the dictatorship in Beijing directed a $200,000 donation to the Trudeau Foundation in the hopes that it would be able to influence and win favor with Justin Trudeau. And in fact, it worked. Trudeau has put forward policies that are very good for the dictatorship and often very bad for Canada. So we now also know that Beijing interfered in 2 successive elections to help Trudeau win, and they believe that he would be good for Beijing. Perhaps not good for Canada, but good for Beijing. Now, Trudeau's been aware of this interference for at least 5 years, during which time he's had briefing after briefing after briefing from our intelligence agency. He's done absolutely nothing to stop it. And now it's all coming out because our intelligence service is giving the information to the media. They're so desperate that they're taking these secrets and giving them to the media so the public will know, that it is in the national interest for Canadians to know. So we're calling for the Prime Minister to start an independent and open public inquiry so that everybody can see the truth, rather than just the Prime Minister keeping it hidden in the back room. We need to know, what was he aware of? Did anybody in Canada collaborate on behalf of the Liberal Party with this foreign interference? And why did the government fail to take any action to protect our democracy from foreign influence and manipulation?
हर रंग है साडे को, हर मॉडल, हर एक दी अपनी वक्री पहचान। ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡਾ ਕਰਮ ਹੈ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਧਾਉਣਾ, ਸਫ਼ਰ ਨੂੰ ਸੌਖਾ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ। ਬਸੰਤ ਮੋਟਰਸ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਰਕੇ।
I'd like to wish you and your family a happy Holi and Hola Mahala. This is a time of year when Sikhs and Hindus come together to celebrate springtime, to renew their faith and spiritualism, and to rejoice in the great stories of their religions. On behalf of my family and the entire Conservative team, I wish you all a wonderful celebration. Happy Holi and Hola Mahala. Let's bring it home.
है जुल्म ढाने का अंदाज भी कितना हंसी, हमारी जान पर बनाई है जब जब उसने अंगड़ाई ली। कभी खामोश रहते हैं, कभी शोर होता है। मोहब्बत में शरारत का मजा कुछ और होता है। दिल को जज्बात का तोहफा खामोशियों को बात का तोहफा, खूबसूरती में जड़ी नजाकत अदाओं की चांद से मुखड़े को चांद सा तोहफा।
भारत ज्वेलर्स, सच्चे प्यार की चमक जैसा। पाई बिजनेस सेंटर सरी।
ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ, ਡੈਲਟਾ, ਰਿਚਮੰਡ, ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ, ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਇੰਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਸਾਰ ਸਕਣ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ 6048259295 ਉੱਤੇ।
As far as the economic conditions are concerned, despite raising the interest rate so many times, inflation still is not coming under control. And the government claims though the numbers have gone down, but when we see at the grocery shops or other places, people are feeling absolutely difficult to even survive. What do you think, what needs to be done on this particular aspect, because people are really feeling the brunt of this?
Well, you're right. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, inflation is at a 40-year high. Food prices rising faster than at any time in my life. The cost of housing has more than doubled under Justin Trudeau's 8 years in power. Let's look why this is happening. The cost of government is driving up the cost of living. $500 billion of inflationary deficit spending is bidding up the goods we buy and the interest we pay. The more Trudeau spends, the more things cost. It's just inflation. And then he's putting in, with the NDP in BC, they're teaming up on this carbon tax that raises gas, heat, and other prices at the same time. What's the solution? Poilievre government will cap government spending with a dollar for dollar law requiring politicians find $1 of savings for every new dollar of spending. I will fire the high-priced consultants that are costing $22 billion to Canada, or $1,400 for every single Canadian family. And I will, instead of creating more cash, we're going to create more cash. We're going to build more homes, grow more food, produce more Canadian energy to build more homes, so that we need more homes because there's not enough. And that's why mortgage payments have doubled from $1,400 to $3,200, and rent has doubled from $950 to $2,200. So how do we get those costs down? We build more houses, more supply. And I'm going to bring in fines for municipal governments that slow down and block housing construction. I'm going to cut their infrastructure money if they don't speed it up. But if they do speed it up and they increase the number of houses built in our communities, then the cities will get more infrastructure money from me. A building bonus for those that get out of the way and allow more housing, and fines for those that block construction. We need to build more homes, print less money, so our youth have a home and a roof over their heads.
And finally, Mr. Poilievre, the question that everybody, especially in the South Asian community, is concerned about is immigration. The immigration system is in a mess right now. 2.5 million files on hold, and people who are coming over here and not getting the jobs, and especially the exploitation they are going through, that is also troubling people. What would you like to tell the South Asian community specifically when it comes to immigration?
Well, the immigration system is broken after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. He promised he was going to be so wonderful for immigrants, but now immigrants sit around waiting. What has he actually done? Grandmothers are separated from their grandchildren because they can't get visitor visas. Small businesses in Surrey and Brampton can't get cooks to come and work in their restaurants because of delays in the temporary foreign worker program. Refugees live in squalor because they can't get into Canada legally and save their lives. Meanwhile, he's spending billions on allowing illegal border crossings through Quebec. That's consuming the resources. That we should close that illegal border crossing at Roxham Road and use the savings to get rid of the backlog, speed up family reunification, speed up temporary foreign workers, and speed up bringing real legal and lawful refugees to Canada, so that we can save more lives. And that's what a Poilievre government's going to do to fix the mess Trudeau's created in immigration.
Wonderful. In conclusion, any message you would like to give to the community?
Well, everything feels broken in Canada after 8 years of Justin Trudeau.
Violent crime is up 32%. Gang killings up 92% as his bail policies allow repeat violent offenders back on the street. More people are dying of drug addictions because Trudeau's decriminalized and taxpayer-funded drugs to our people. He has given us the worst inflation in 40 years. He's doubled housing costs in just 8 years. But that's the bad news. The good news is that we can turn the hurt that he's caused into the hope that Canadians need. We're going to cap spending, cut the waste, fire the high-priced consultants to bring down the inflationary deficit, get rid of the carbon tax to lower your gas and grocery bills, but bring in powerful incentives for cities to allow more affordable home building so we can bring home ownership in Canada. And we're going to have a more powerful economy by removing the government gatekeepers so that immigrants can work in their professions, First Nations can develop their resources, Canada can produce its own stuff, and we can bring home the jobs, businesses, and industry that our country needs for powerful paychecks. Let's bring it home.
Absolutely. Mr. Poilievre, thank you very much for your time and best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Many blessings to your family.
Thank you. Have a great evening. Thank you. ਸੋ ਇਸ ਸਨ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਵੇਵ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ। ਭਾਵੇਂ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਅਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਰਿਫਾਰਮਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜੁਡੀਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਹੈਗਾ, ਆਮ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਅਫੋਰਡੇਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਹੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੀ ਹੈਗੀ। ਅਤੇ ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਵੇਵ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਫੇਲ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ, ਹਰ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਹੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਭਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਮੌਕਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਏ ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਵੇਵਰ ਨੂੰ। ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਿਫਾਰਮ ਲਿਆਉਣਗੇ, ਉਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਰਿਫਾਰਮ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਆਮ ਜਨਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਹਤ ਮਿਲ ਸਕੇ। ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਸ ਪਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਠੀਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਹੋਏ ਉਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਲ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਕੋਕੇਨ ਵੇਚਣ ਲਈ ਹੈਲਥ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 2 ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਲਾਇਸੈਂਸ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੋਕੇਨ ਵੇਚ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਜਾਇਜ਼ ਹੈਗਾ? ਡੀਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲਾਈਜ਼ ਜੋ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਡਰੱਗਸ ਦੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੌਤਾਂ ਹੋ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਰੋਕਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਪਲਾਨ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਅਸਿਸਟਡ ਡੈਥ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਇਲਨੈਸਿਸ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਵਿਰੋਧ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਲੋਕੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਲੰਘ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਹੋਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੰਘ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਜੇਕਰ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਸੁਵਿਧਾ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬਜਾਏ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਟਰੀਟਮੈਂਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਏ, ਸਰਕਾਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਰਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੀ ਜਾਨਾਂ ਲੈ ਲੈਣ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚਾਈਨਾ ਦੀ ਦਖਲ ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ੀ ਹੈਗੀ, ਇੰਟਰਫੇਰੈਂਸ, ਉਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਨੇਤਾ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਉੱਤੇ ਵੱਡੀ ਰਕਮ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੀ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਗਲਤ ਹੋਇਆ ਕੰਮ, ਅਤੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਇਨਕੁਆਇਰੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੋਲਡ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਅਤੇ ਅਖੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਬ੍ਰੋਕਨ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਨੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਿਫਾਰਮ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਿਹਤਰੀ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਐਕਸਪਲੋਇਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਅਤੇ ਸਹੀ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਉੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ, ਉਸ ਉੱਤੇ ਫੋਕਸ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੋਣ ਲਈ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ। ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ 604 603 7555 ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਈਮੇਲ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ harpreetsingh@gmail.com। ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਲੈਣਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ। ਹੈਵ ਅ ਸੇਫ ਈਵਨਿੰਗ, ਸਟੇ ਹੈਲਦੀ ਐਂਡ ਇੰਜੋਏ ਯੋਰਸੈਲਫ।
ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ, ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ? ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਦੇ ਓਨਰ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਉਦਾਹਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਾਰ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲੋੜ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜੀਂਦੇ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸਪੇਸ, ਮੋਡੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਫਿਊਲ ਐਫੀਸ਼ੀਐਂਸੀ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਟਰੱਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੌਰ।
More than just beautiful dance. It's a touch of the divine. More than just legends. It's the beautiful culture and wisdom of China before communism More than just a performance. It's an experience that awakens the soul. See it at least once in your lifetime. Shen Yun, an all-new production every year.
ਵੈਨਕਾਸਾ ਟਾਈਲ ਅਤੇ ਸਟੋਨ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਲਸੇਲ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਟਾਈਲਸ, ਸਟੋਨ, ਮਾਰਬਲ, ਬੈਕਸਪਲੈਸ਼, ਮੋਜ਼ੇਕ ਆਦਿ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਟਾਲੀਅਨ, ਸਪੈਨਿਸ਼, ਚਾਈਨੀਜ਼ ਪੋਰਸਲਨ ਜਾਂ ਸਿਰੈਮਿਕ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਜਾਂ ਮਾਰਬਲ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਆਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਲੀਅਰੈਂਸ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਮਾਲਕ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਇੰਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰੋ 1304 84 ਐਵਨਿਊ ਸਰੀ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 604 330 7363 604 330 7363।